All right, guys, here we are to talk about the Shannara Chronicles. We are on episode 5 of season 1, and we're chugging right along.
We are chugging right along indeed, Diane.
Yeah, I don't know if this was my favorite episode, but some things happened here.
So I was like upset with last episode. I was kind of
remember.
like, what's happening here? Why are we doing all this garbage or whatever? And I wouldn't say that this episode completely righted the ship, but had some cool stuff in it, and the stuff that was developing was like okay, and I'm like, okay, it's fine.
It didn't feel as much of a 90s, early 2000s action show anymore.
Okay.
This episode was better in that regard. It was filmed a little better. Things happened.
Well, and I kind of like reflected on it, and I'm like, probably what happened is they had to like creatively cut something out that's in the books or whatever to get the quest rolling.
It's certainly possible.
Because they were like, the quest has to roll by episode 4. It's in the contract. Some bullshit like that. Because it felt like they were like, that has to happen or whatever. And I didn't like it or whatever. But now I feel like we are back to a better like page to minute ratio or something like that, and we're following a plot line.
Our core group is now like kind of finalized. We have our thief rogue in the mix officially now, and not just a prisoner. How'd you like that?
I don't know.
My only real issue with all that was like, yeah, she double crosses, that's obvious, does her thing, steals the stones, whatever. But she makes her triumphant return into a middle of like a wolf attack. Did she kill the wolf? Like, what was that? The wolf drags the woman off screaming, and like 1 second later, she's like, "You miss me, boys?" And I'm like, does she know there's a wolf here? Did she kill the wolf? What just happened?
I keep fucking up the rules. I rewound 10 seconds. Because there's a noise. Like, you hear, like, clattering, and the wolf goes, "Meow," and there's, and I think she had a sword that had blood. Like they made it like she killed the wolf. Like, the trained soldier guardsman that's escorting the people there was like, oh, my torch went out, and just got, and then she, I guess that person's is dead.
Oh yeah, that person's 100% dead.
No, but like, are we just gonna ignore that? She just came out like, hey, like it was I'm here to save the day, and it's like.
My only thought...
You just stabbed a wolf while she was distracted with our dead friend? Yes, nice to meet you, I guess. What?
The trained, elf, I don't think they've ever been outside of the city.
No, I know. They're kind of
so, like, she lives in the woods. Presumably, she has techniques to kill the wolf. But yes, it was such an odd way to do it.
I don't like you defending her.
I'm not trying to. I'm just making it make sense the only way I can in my head.
I agree.
But yeah, they breezed right over so much, and she did just flawlessly kill it and just walk like right in. Like, it was 1 second. Now, I did not hear the wolf noise. I didn't see the blood on her sword. I just inferred that must have happened because I was like, what the hell?
Well, so like I had the same reaction as you. Was like, are they trying to tell me that just happened? Because I was in the process of writing down, because like last episode or two, you've made the point a few times, like, why are they doing this like this? And it's like, well, the demons and the thing, and then it's like, wait a minute, no, the world is just so dangerous on its own. Like, why are you proceeding in these ways or whatever? And those wolves were a perfect example, where you're just like, oh my god.
And you didn't see it very well. It was a poor CG wolf, but it was gigantic.
It was gigantic. It just dragged off this person really, really quickly and like devoured them or like whatever. And they're like land sharks, where if you have any like exposed wounds, the blood just draws them in from like miles away.
Yeah.
It was crazy, and like this is so dangerous. Why would you send children into this world to go do a thing?
And like at certain points, it's an allegory of like how man is evil, and like our poisons from centuries ago are still like emanating like poisonous gas. Like, what the hell is that? And it kills that dude instantly, but then they can just like ride into it and like a little bit cover their mouth. The horse lived. I guess he's taller, or I don't know what the deal with that is. I thought it was hilarious that they used that to kill like the troll or whatever that was, that demon thing.
Axe demon, yeah.
So like he lights a lighter in the midst of the fog
and throws it a foot away.
Yeah, and that explodes the thing and kills it.
I know. So this is the part of this whole fucking thing. So I should probably start over, go back. I had a lot of hopes for this episode, and then like the way things played out, a lot of it centered around Eritrea, like in general.
Sure.
But yeah, I think I have a note in here somewhere like, I guess the King of the Rovers is cool now, or something like that, because they're just palling around and shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wasn't he about to rape someone? Like, isn't he? And it's like, well, he's a good guy. Like, I don't think he's a good guy. He was gonna like kill his surrogate daughter that apparently he just bought and decided to manipulate for like fun. Like, this doesn't seem like a good guy.
Nah, he's a good guy.
He's a pretty good guy. He's charming.
He's a pretty good guy.
No, but so like we like in the midst of all that weird goofy shit, which is like it's like the worst worst episodes of like Walking Dead, where you're like, was that even your plan? How would you know that would happen? Okay, fine, fuck. It was like that sort of like shit happening. In the midst of all that, we're learning all these things. They're dropping all this, all the stuff we've been wanting to know for so long, and this is how we finally find out, and it was very disappointing because they drop 3,000 years and their chemicals are still toxic, whatever things are still killing us or whatever. And then he says like, "Don't worry, elves, you'll have your own chance to destroy the world soon enough," or whatever. And you're like, "Okay, is that about demons or is that about magic? What's that
about?" We got a new type of demon though. That was cool.
We did. We got a new...
Like a lumbering fuck demon or whatever it is.
So I've also been wanting a new type of demon for so long. And I guess that's a new type of demon. And he was fine, but it was still kind of like...
He was just like a big man.
Just plowing. He's just like a big mountain.
The way his scale looked, it was hard to tell how big he was at first. I was like, is he gigantic? And then it's like, he's like 10 feet tall, maybe.
Right. But they couldn't afford to show him in enough like things and doing enough stuff. He was just, there was a lot of this, and then like a shot of like a head hitting the ground or something like that.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay.
That's his move. He cuts heads off professionally.
He likes to decapitate.
Who doesn't? And that was all right. I liked that the king died. I wanted that to happen for some time now. I thought the changeling was like, he's had so many opportunities. Why hasn't he killed the king yet?
So they actually twice. So kind of like a weird little writing thing. They remind you both in the flashback and then in like the present day what the name of the dog is.
Yes.
So that you will know when he's like Manx, that he's talking to the dog or whatever.
Yeah.
Because we all know that the dog was the changeling at some point. Yeah. And now that he can't find the dog, it means the changeling must be someone else, and that's supposed to make you feel smart for guessing that the dude who literally says, "I'll take care of the king," is now the guy. Do you think that guy's dead? Do we know that yet?
We don't know yet.
The real that guy?
I don't know.
Prince Pussyfoot?
It's certainly possible, and it does stand to reason that, like, whenever he can, he's killing whoever he's taking over because you don't want to get seen in the same spot.
Pretty obvious, right? Fuck, I just saw that guy.
When we were watching the previous flashback thing here, outside of that, like, the entranceway was the gnomes followed into, was that the other brother having sex with that guy's wife? They look very similar. So I may be mistaken this.
So I'm glad, because I've been paying attention to, like, the girly parts here, so I know what I'm talking about. They were together. Okay. And then he went off to do the thing that he said he was about to go do. Uh-huh. And was like racked with guilt for like the death of like whoever the fuck. And then the other, she then gets with the other brother.
Okay.
Because in like the first episode, Amberly is like, not like you making eyes at Captain Phasma, and I don't know, I don't know that elf's name. Okay. The other elf's name. And he's like, I was just appreciating her, and and then he, she like gives him shit, and then he says, well, my brother made the right choice, or like she made the right choice, with my brother or something like that. It makes sense or whatever. So that was a flashback to that, where yes, she would, and like I didn't know if they were dating or like lightly heavy petting, but they were just fucking in the woods, which is what you do, as you do.
And he's the reason the gnomes knew how to like touch the rock and get into their home base or whatever.
So does he know that? He freaked out.
I don't know that he
Does anyone else know that?
It's hard to say. The gnomes are what I thought the trolls were, or the trolls look exactly like the gnomes. Cause
I think that they are just gnomes, and we're doing like the hip modern thing of like, this is what you would normally think was this, but it's really these now. They're fairies now. Like you just like pick a new thing to call the same thing.
Maybe
because they have the same goggles, they have the same like gross, weird faces and weird hair and all that shit. So I think she might have said gnomes in the beginning. And in like the intro graphics, it's like gnomes, elves, humans, and like gnomes are like prominently mentioned.
I thought gnomes and trolls were both mentioned though, but I could be wrong.
Oh, maybe.
I could be wrong.
I'm not in like a troll-centric mindset or whatever. Well, I've seen the intro like a few times because like, the intro like smacks you in the face with that weird MTV logo, so I'm like forced to look at it from that point onward.
When Atreya. What's her name?
Eritrea. Who sounds like betrayal, and then Bandon sounds like abandoned, and Al-Anon sounds like you need to go somewhere because you're like drinking too much.
Well, when we first meet Will and Eritrea, she throws a knife or whatever at a thing, and he goes, "Was that a troll?" And he goes, "Where are you from?"
Oh, troll, he says?
Yeah,
okay.
I thought so.
Maybe he's wrong? I don't know. It could definitely be a troll.
I don't know. But at the time, it made sense. I was like, big ugly thing, troll.
Must be trolls.
And now I'm like, that's what a fucking gnome looks like.
Gnomes, I think of David the Gnome. So I'm
David the Gnoming in Wyoming.
I am well out of my element when it comes to gnomes here.
Yeah. No, I would have gnomes, halflings. That's what I picture in that world.
Yeah, little guys.
Yeah. Not like monstrous, huge fuckers.
Guys who guard gardens.
But they're interesting, and they have their own thing. So they come in, and they're declaring war on the elves, or they're in the middle of a war and about to finish it. That's where our princess's father dies. That's how she gets his sword.
Yeah, so okay. Now we're here. The episode opens 10 years earlier. Awesome, CG composite establishing shot. I'm pumped.
Sure.
I'm like, I literally, the first thing that snapped into my head was the end of Dumb and Dumber. Just when I think you can't get any worse, fucking blah, 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 you do something like this and completely redeem yourself. And it's young Amberly and they're running. I'm like, this is awesome. And then I was just like, okay, the dad was introduced for like 5 seconds. And she's already seen the tree. She's already touched the tree. He literally,
that's a little weird.
He literally says,
you could be a chosen one.
You could fucking do, there's no law against the thing that we already, I'm like, this is trash. This is horrible. I'm so upset by this.
Yeah.
I like this show, though.
That's fairly accurate.
But
no, the show on the whole does have my attention.
It
but
feels
it's definitely
good
peppering in like horrible shit and spoon feeding you things that you shouldn't have to spoon feed. I like your concept enough. I'm interested to know where your world is going. You don't have to treat me like an idiot.
Yeah, just spend like 8 minutes on something. Don't feel like you have to do whatever the fuck, right?
Yeah.
You got a whole hour.
So, what else happens in the episode?
Okay, so like the dad well, so like there's a flashback. The dad again though she's already touched the tree and like had a vision.
Yeah.
So she didn't expect anything to happen when she touched. She was like shocked that she had a vision when she touched the tree.
Well, it's been 10 years. You could not know what that was.
Does she ever have visions ever?
No. But again, if you've never had a vision, you wouldn't know what you just saw. I wasn't super offended by it. I liked seeing young Gardner man back alive.
Yes.
I thought that was interesting.
I wrote him down somewhere in this motherfucker because I'm like, oh yeah, it's yo. You're not stabbed in the face.
I thought it was interesting when they're like, oh, well, we'll go in a small party. We'll do this. We'll see where they are. Scout the demon's numbers. Know about this fight. I'll go do this. Oh, I need someone to go with me. And that gnome's been locked up for the last 10 years. He already looked like he was 100 years old to begin with.
So at the end of the fucking
He's been locked like this. His arms above his head.
He must be useless. It's ridiculous. So at the end, I wrote down Slanter kills her dad. Doesn't die, though. And then literally, like, the whole time, because, like, that's what I mean by these, like, reminding you of the dog's name for, like, the like, later scene. This is, like, we have to, like, establish that there's been a, like, oh, like this is how her dad dies, and while we're at it, we have to have, like, 3 people say Slanter. We have to know the name of this guy, and we have to show him getting captured and not die and be a bad guy and all that shit, so that later, when he says, but I have an idea. What is it? Slanter. And he goes, what the fuck? No, you killed our brother, or whatever the fuck. Like, you have to, like, Yeah. It's this weird... Like, I love setups and payoffs, but I don't love, like, well, there has to be a flashback in this episode. 2 things happen in it. Guess what? Later in the episode.
Some people are good at it, some people are bad at it. Like, in this, it's all telegraphed. You know exactly what's happening. In, like, Doctor Who, you're like, oh, my God, he knocked 3 times. He is that guy. Like,
dude,
like,
the knock, 4 times? The knock is, like, the great, that's the fucking greatest thing ever. That got me.
In every episode of Doctor Who, there's at least one of those things where they're like, all right, so there's 4 of us. Who's that? And, like,
you're absolutely right.
There's all those things, like in every episode, for something that's so cheap and cheesy and awesome, like
because it's very well written.
It does that all the time. This like is not doing that, and they're not even really trying to do that. Like it's clearly it's made for a younger demographic. It has to be. The books are probably tween books.
That bothers me though.
Well,
that's why kids stuff has a bad reputation. That's why people say, "Didn't you outgrow comic books? Aren't you an adult now? Why do you still watch wrestling?" And then you're like, because it's fun. And then you watch and you go, well, this is made for idiots. Maybe I'm an idiot. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
I've learned something today about myself.
So where's this episode end off?
Well, I like took notes about this whole goddamn process.
Sure,
like
what do you got?
They get ambushed by the Rovers. You have like Captain Dickhead who's like helping them.
I did like that ambush. That felt Herculean.
Hercules, the Legendary Journey.
Of course, Kevin Sorbo. All right.
Even the Rover King's costume. Oh my God, he's like right out of Hercules.
But the way it's like random patch of dead grass here. 4 seconds later, and they jump out of it.
I liked it a lot.
That's Hercules.
I actually liked it a lot. Yes.
Oh, I love it. It's my bread and butter.
I dug it a fair amount.
Dug it like the holes the rovers were in to spring out, to have a trap.
So, like, I wrote down, like, some shit, and then I started, like, a new line and put, rovers capture them easily, or something like that.
Oh, yeah, there was no challenge at all. One of my pet peeves is blades not being sharp. Like, that one rover runs his blade, like, right on her neck, and if he was really prepared for war, lived out in the trenches where, like, shit is going down constantly, wolves are just coming at you because you got a nick in your fucking foot, like, you would have the sharpest fucking blade you could possibly have. You would want, if I even nicked you, I want to draw blood. This is like, he's, like pushing deep into her neck, and, like, everyone does this, and it drives me nuts. Warriors don't have dull fucking blades.
I feel like if you're in the woods, and one of your only possessions is a knife, and if it's not sharp enough, you might die, you would literally keep it very, very sharp.
Yes.
I know.
It annoys me because if like my knives are sharp and I don't use them to kill things every day, every other day, I would expect someone who needs it at every moment.
It makes
for
sense.
It to be sharp as fuck.
I agree with you, and I support you. So we already talked about the demon slaughter thingy. I liked the king being like, "This is not a debate." Or whatever.
Well, Arturo's the boy. He's right? Good. He's good. Now he's gone.
So I wonder now because like it's the same actor.
Oh, actually, he still might be in it if the changeling stays as him for a long period of time.
Like he's gone, but if this is like an Odin thing and now he's gonna be like the king, I would actually really. So again, maybe this is the expectations where it's like, are you sure about that? And he goes, "Do not question me." And you're like, "Oh fuck, what?" And like no one knows what to do and all that shit. That
Especially
could be dope.
If he killed the only guy trying to usurp the throne.
Yeah.
To kill the king, he has no one stopping him.
He's caked up. I wonder what he's gonna do with the body. What's gonna happen now?
I like the idea of him dancing back and forth between the two. You never see him at the same time.
Right, because as a changeling, you could pose as various people, like you know, together or whatever. Yeah.
Especially when they're royal and you can't go in their bedroom without permission.
I had some thoughts about like, well, how long has the changeling been doing stuff or like whatever. But I like worked it out in my head, and I'm like, no, it's just straight. It's just whatever, right? It's not. There's nothing. Because like I'm not sure at what point the changeling replaced the other brother. But the scene where the changeling talks to Magda Dor or whatever and says, no, wait, give me a chance, is so late in the episode that I feel like it sort of implies that, like, no, it's just the next time you see that guy, it happened off camera. So I'm like, oh. I really love shit when someone has replaced someone or done something, and then you have to go back and think, like, oh, shit, that was so subtle and amazing. He was already possessed. That's why he didn't know how to, like, do his phone. Oh, my God, or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, those awesome things. But there's nothing of that here. Never mind. I'm sorry.
No, there's nothing good here. move along.
You're so drunk you can't even unlock your phone, God. But it's because he's now possessed by the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. So at home, Bandon, who we thought would go on the quest maybe, or I thought at least.
I was surprised he didn't go on the quest.
He didn't go on the quest. It was apparently because they had some like use for him or like plans for him back at home. He wants to like join up in like the Elven army. And Al-Anon's like, what the fuck are you doing? You're a puss, mate. Come with me. You got your visions. And like he's like, word. And they go. And it goes very poorly for him. And it's awesome.
Yeah.
I loved that. I loved the whole like, what does he say? Like, I saw your death and like you knew I was there. And he goes, great. Again, keep trying or something like that. Like it's a two-way street, the visions. It's this crazy, awesome thing. And the demon, like, knows that he's there and, like, imprisons him in his, like, tree warp vision or something like that. Oh.
Yeah, science.
No, liked it, no?
I don't know. I don't really like the Bannon character that much.
No.
But I like having a dude that has that power around, especially if it's something you can change. I'd be like, read me again. Keep reading me.
Keep reading me till it's good and then never read me again.
No, like, read me every day, so I know, like, do I die today?
Just to, like, dial it in, figure out if something else has crept into the visions or whatever. Yeah.
But I guess it's weird, because knowing that you didn't have a death could lead you to doing things that would have a death. It's a strange road you walk when you know your own death.
Yeah, Al-Anon's taking every possible opportunity to say, you only see possibilities. Get over it, mate.
Exactly.
You bunch of cunts.
Well, the very fact that he stopped the death proved that.
No, I know.
It's not even a theory.
But you're absolutely right that, like, you'd be like, oh, I don't die today, or oh, I died doing that thing. I just won't go anywhere near there. And then you fuck up because you're an idiot because you're like, oh, I was cocky and I died somewhere else. As you do.
By avoiding the trampoline, I went into the traffic. Now I'm dead.
100%. You get on that sled, keeps going, now you're in the street.
Yep.
And the cars can't stop because of all the snow. It's factual.
You
might say it's the perfect storm. for your death.
I thought you meant it was just going to be a movie with Tom Fuckery. What's that guy's name?
Marky
Brad
Mark.
Pitt. Marky Mark.
Who's in Perfect Storm? I have no idea anymore.
In my head, it was George Clooney and Brad Pitt, but it certainly could be Marky Mark replacing Brad Pitt in that story.
I was waiting to say Marky Mark, and then right as I said it, whoever you said popped into my head, and now those two people are in it too.
Maybe they're all in it.
Thomas Hayden Church. Can you see him now? He's on the boat, wearing the thing. How'd he get there? I don't know.
I don't see. I see Noel Fielding.
Noel Fielding.
He's not in
I need a gesture. So that leaves all the notes then funneling into that ending thing with the
Sure.
toxic gas. Well, I don't think we spelled it out for the purposes here, but they actually... Oh, no. Did we say 3,000 years?
Yes.
Does that... We didn't elaborate, though. Does that jive? How
Not
do you
only
feel
does
about
that like not technically jive with what I know so far, but it also like doesn't help me at all. Where I'm like, all right, 3,000 years from now, potentially, or 3,000 years from whenever world time this started in. Because if it's 3,000 years from now, it's like the year 5,000.
It's the year 5,000, there's elves.
So like sun should be different or something.
No, it's not. That's a very small amount of geologic time.
They said by the year 2100, there will be 20 days a year that 75% of the world will be in jeopardy of dying of heat.
Well, that's because of like global warming and shit.
Yeah, this is thousands of years from now.
Well,
if
but
anything, the sun will be like right here.
no, that's not because of the sun. That's because of humans. And if you just destroy the whole world, it would like waste
What do you
all
think
that down.
destroying the world does? It advances that. We've got toxins leaking,
Briefly,
killing
yeah.
horses.
Right, but maybe the magic of the elves protected everything.
Maybe.
And at what point in the 3,000 years did magic come in? And
Or was it here all along?
And is 3,000 years enough time for your T-shirt hypothesis?
Yeah.
Could they ever run out of T-shirts in 3,000 years?
I think
Okay.
I think that makes sense because T-shirts are like when you get a T-shirt at your shop that's like 40 years old, you're like all right, this feels a little thinner than I think it should. So I imagine after 1,000 years, T-shirts are like fucked.
Probably, right?
And after 3,000 years of like no climate control and T-shirts just being in the elements, I think they've turned to nothing.
Does it explain why there's not more stuff, though? Like, we still see, like, a rusty tractor at one point or whatever? Does that make any sense?
She drinks from a satellite dish that looked pretty pristine.
Right?
The water looked good. I don't know. 3,000 years doesn't make sense for a lot of things.
There's like a microwave and a barrel. And can they read English? Do they know that it says toxic waste? No one said, well, it says toxic waste.
I don't imagine they can.
Wouldn't that be dope?
We've never seen English words.
Oh, man, the lost art of English.
I don't even know how long it would take for that to get lost. They're still humans. So, like...
And they are literally just descendants of the humans that were the humans, right? So how did this...
Presumably.
How did this all happen?
I don't know.
It brings up more
I
questions.
also
than it
like
does
that, like,
answers.
potentially all humans are just bands of roaming idiots. There's no cities left, period.
Well, there's villages. They got gutted at a village.
But not villages of humans. Those are elf
Are
villages.
humans not allowed to have villages?
I don't know. They've
Those
not said.
bastards. Those pointy-eared bastards. Gotta take them out.
Well, we're going to find out, hopefully, a little more in the next episode. We've learned a timeline, at least now. We have something to work against.
The Gnomish Revolution didn't pan out.
And like, seemingly multiple races just spawned out of nothingness in 3,000 years.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, are they going to say, like, well, hey, the world was different 3,000 years ago? Or are they just going to, or is there going to be, like, a clear explanation of, like, no, we opened a portal. We were trying to, like, beam power from space. And we opened a portal.
Honestly, they'll
Trail
probably say
reactions.
nothing. Because it's the best to let you not know. When you explain something poorly, it's always worse than not explaining anything.
Yes, that is, like, technically the safest and best, like, course of action. I'm wondering what they will do. I guess they'll do that because it's the safest and best course of action. At this point, it will kind of feel like, ooh, mysterious, isn't it? As opposed to like, oh shit, mysterious, fuck. Like, you know, I don't picture whoever made this with like a giant whiteboard with like yarn and like whatever, right?
No.
This is just like, oh, but it's a long time. How many? Thousands of years.
Where did this episode end? I don't recall.
Well, it ends with like "Long live the king" and all that stuff.
Oh, that's right. So yeah, that's the actual end.
That's
part.
the literal
Jump right
ending.
into that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's one of the most interesting things that happens during the episode.
Sure.
The ending though, right, is you know, Bandon's eyes change color, he collapses.
Yeah, they turn black like a demon.
It's black, and then a leaf falls. What's happening? Is he possessed? I don't know. Oh my God, is he just in like a weird coma? Magic. Oh my God, can he get out? Does he have to mind fight with Magdador? Does he get distracted? How does he get out? Oh my God, I have no idea what's gonna happen.
I don't know. What do you guys think happens? can let us know in the comments below. Do you think he's a demon? Do you think the king will jump back and forth between the bodies of the prince and the king himself?
Do you think Loki was faking it the whole time, or did he really have a soft spot for Thor? No, so like they're still marching to the thing, right? They got away from the wolves.
They still have
Eritrea's on there
to dunk the seed.
You gotta dunk that seed
in like magical blood juice or whatever.
Safe home in the blood of the magic mountain. So they're on their way. The fort's empty. The big thing was there. I guess they resumed their quest.
Yeah.
We'll see if there's trouble in paradise.
I'm sure there will be. Until next time, guys, don't die in a fire. And as always,